Hey everyone, and welcome back to the 9 Frames podcast. This is episode 86, and it is Friday, March 29th, 2024. I am Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
Be sure to catch us as always on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on there, subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoy the show.
Yeah, opening day has come and gone, and we got a lot of action to talk about. Some really good games yesterday.
Yeah, it was a fun one. Some history was made, and we'll definitely get into it. Today is opening day for what will be the Mets, the Brewers, the Phillies, and the Braves. Should be a fun one again. And we are going to quickly touch on the first game. I didn't have it in here as a big point because the Angels kind of got dominated there. Corbin Burns made his debut for the Orioles, and he looked phenomenal. Had 11 strikeouts in 6 innings, and what did they win, 11-2?
11-3.
Yeah, so pretty dominant win for the Orioles there. I have them as the AL's best this year.
Yeah, he gave up just one hit, and it was a home run to one of the greatest players we've ever seen, Mike Trout.
Yeah, in the first inning. That seems to be a trend for what was some of the game's best pitchers. Pablo Lopez went off yesterday as well. We'll talk about him a little later, but yeah, just early home runs, and then they settle in.
Yeah, so after that home run that Burns gave up, he literally did not allow anything else.
Yeah, looked phenomenal with his new team. I think he is going to benefit greatly from the Great Wall of Baltimore over in left field.
That, and also he has a juggernaut of an offense behind him. Like, they're going to put up runs every time.
Like you said, giving up that first inning home run, his team responded real quick by scoring in succession. Right.
The next time he went back out to the mound, he had the lead.
Yeah, pretty insane. So the Orioles take a handy win there. That's a good way to start the season.
And it wouldn't be the beginning of baseball season if Mike Trout didn't homer and the Angels lose by nearly 10.
Yeah, he did that real quick too, man. First inning, love to see it. Low ball, one of the best low ball hitters in the game.
Yep.
What we will talk about here in depth is the Yankees-Astros game. This was my favorite game to watch yesterday, honestly. It was a dogfight.
Yeah, I didn't really watch too much of this one. I was watching the Giants game at that time. But yeah, it was a really good game. It was the Yankees were down early, and they stormed back.
It's a game where we really all wanted to be watching the reigning AL Cy Young, but we did not get to watch Garrett Cole. This ended up being Nestor Cortez for the Yankees, and the Astros got to him early. They get him for 3 small ball runs in the first and 1 in the second off a Jake Myers solo home run for a quick 4-0 lead.
Yeah, and speaking of Garrett Cole, he's now targeting a June 1st return date, so that is multiple months.
Yeah, I mean, you still like to hear that it's significantly before the All-Star break. That's what you really want to see.
That's barring any setbacks. Like, hopefully he stays on track and comes back when he says he is.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to keep an eye on that. One of the biggest stories in the game, the AL Cy Young going on the IL for a while.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, though. The Astros jumped out to a quick lead on the Yankees, and I mean, it looked like it was a one-sided game.
Saw Twitter start to go into a frenzy and say this is how the Yankees are going to look this year now that the ace went down. But no, this is a game that ended up having Juan Soto's fingerprints all over it.
As you'd expect, I mean, he's going to be one of the biggest parts of the Yankees season. And if they do make the playoffs and a deep run, it would be inherently partially because of his success, along with Aaron Judge, Stanton, and so forth.
Yeah, the Yankees did get cooking a little bit early, but some clutch double plays in 2 innings had Houston getting out of it, and they wouldn't score until the 5th when they finally get 3 runs to make it a 4-3 game. Soto gets his first RBI. That's a single. Rizzo gets hit by a pitch and Volpe walks to make it 4-3 there. The next inning, which was the 6th inning, we see a huge solo homer by Oswaldo Cabrera, and we are tied 4-4 just like that.
Yeah, one thing about the Yankees is that we all know that they have a juggernaut of an offense, so they're going to score plenty of runs, you'd assume.
The way that the pitching held it down, too, I was expecting the Astros to keep the pedal to the metal and put more on, but that was all they got in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, they're getting homers from, I mean, we know how deep their lineup is, and Oswaldo Cabrera is the one that's tying the game for them. So if they're getting late-game homers from the bottom of their lineup, that team is going to be very scary.
Yeah, they end up scoring in the 5th, 6th, and 7th because in the 7th inning, they load the bases with 1 out, and the new Yankee as well, Alex Verdugo, hits a sac fly for none other than Aaron Judge to come in. That makes it 5-4.
The new guy's stepping up.
The big story of this game, and bringing it back to Juan Soto, is when you take it to the 9th inning here, and it's a 5-4 game, 1st and 2nd, it is a slow roller through the infield by Kyle Tucker for a single Juan Soto's the one who gets the ball in right field, and he throws a fantastic one-bounce throw to Trevino at home, and he snipes Mauricio Dubon for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, not particularly known for his arm and fielding ability. I mean, we know Juan Soto as the all-world hitter. He's decent at defense, but you don't
More
think
of an
him.
effort guy in the outfield, not actually naturally gifted there.
Yeah, so naturally, for him to be the one to throw somebody out when he's not known for it, in his first game with his new team, in a contract year, still no extension signed. I mean, that's a great way to start. You get an RBI, you throw out a run at the plate in the ninth inning. Can't ask for much more.
Him and Judge flexing at each other. They got the chemistry going early. I think this was really the best way for the Yankees to kick off the season there.
Oh, yeah, they got to be feeling great going into today.
We get a Bregman ground out. That'll end the game. A force out at second. Huge first game for the Yankees. I think it's a pretty big first game for the Astros as well, because this is going to light a fire under them.
Yeah, we'll see if they wake up more.
Juan Soto all over the scorebook here. So I just kind of wanted to pose a question here at the end, because the Yankees do win 5-4 on opening day. Is the Juan Soto trade going to be the most impactful move of the 2024 offseason? And there were some big moves.
It could be. I mean, we have Ohtani going
That's
over. That's
my thing.
I don't know.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is that I'm focusing just on this season, how big of a factor they'll play, and maybe Juan Soto plays a bigger factor for the Yankees than Ohtani for the Dodgers this year, considering he can't pitch.
Yeah, I mean, because we know that Ohtani can really only hit, so they're both going to be viewed as just hitters this year. Ohtani doesn't have the pitching advantage, so I could see it. It could be a possibility.
It'll be a real battle. I mean, this is a huge first game for him. He ends up saving a run at home that would have tied the game at 5, and he gets the first RBI of the game for the Yankees as well to get the boys going.
Yeah, it's just tough to bet against Shohei. He was, 2 for 3 with an RBI yesterday. I mean, sandwiched by Betts and Freeman, who both homer. I mean, that team's going to be ridiculous.
Pretty funny. Soto's always been in the NL. And Ohtani's always been in the AL, and they swapped this year, so they can't really compete directly still.
They'll see each other eventually.
Definitely with that new schedule. We will move it on over to the NL West now. This one is history in the worst way. The D-backs score 14 runs in the third inning here during a 16-1 absolute rout of the Rockies. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is also making history, having 5 RBI on opening day.
Yeah, they didn't look like they had any kind of World Series hangover for this year, at least to start the season. I mean, they just would not stop scoring in that third inning. It was ridiculous.
5 innings pitched and 1 earned run for their Cy Young candidate, Zach Gallen. That's the only run given up by a D-back that day.
Did you hear what he said?
No, what did he say?
It took them 35 minutes to score all those runs, and he was like, maybe we can try to do it in 10 so that I can go back out
I'm
there.
sure that messes you up, man.
It's gotta be tough.
Pitchers say they don't like the long offensive inning, and this one was very long, man. 14 runs. You just don't see that every day, and to see it on opening day, not how you want to start the season if you're in purple and black.
Yeah, I don't care who you are. Sitting down in between innings and waiting to go back out there for 35 minutes is going to be very tough. That's a long time.
And looking at this score, 16-1, being from New York, we don't hear from a lot of Rockies fans, but man, I would like to hear what they're going through, what's going through their mind right now, because they are a really rough roster over there.
I mean, they looked at the division there, and they probably know they're going to finish last.
That's the only option. Last.
Of course. I mean, look at how who's supposed. I don't even know who's going to finish 4th. They're all so good. The other 4. I mean, I have the Giants going to the NLCS. I wouldn't be surprised if the Padres and the D-backs both sneak into the playoffs and make runs again. I mean, both of these teams are all of them, honestly. All 4 in front of the Rockies. So it's going to be a very long season for the Colorado Rockies. They're going to kind of serve as a punching bag in the bottom, it seems like.
And how much of a problem do you think the reigning NL champs are going to be in that NLS? Because they really could, man.
It's a statement to make on opening day, putting up 16 runs and blowing out your opponent by 15.
Just giving you guys the final scores here because I didn't watch these games too far in depth. I was a bit focused on some other ones. The Padres did take a 6-4 win over the Giants there, and the Dodgers take a dominant 7-1 win in Glasnow's first start, where he looked very good as well over the Cardinals, who are trying to look to get a bounce back year. That's not the way you want to start it.
Yeah, I was watching the Giants game, and it was a bit of a pitcher's duel between Logan Webb and Yu Darvish, who looked great again yesterday. And then Webb kind of faltered a little bit toward the middle innings, and then the Padres just got to the Giants' bullpen. There was Luke Jackson had to leave with a back injury. His back tightened up on him, and it got messy for the Giants, and the Padres capitalized on it, and then their bullpen shut it down.
I see Matsui ended up getting the win there, his first win of his major league career. Ranger Suarez, who is
Robert Suarez,
who is now the full-time closer there in San Diego, gets his second save of the year because they did play that Soul Series.
Yep, he's got some nasty stuff in the back end too. Throws it extremely hard.
Yeah, speaking of nasty, Glasnow was looking nice over against the Cardinals as well. The Dodgers put up 2 again in the first inning, and that's actually all they needed, but they ended up putting up more runs, 7 in the game for a 7-1 win over St. Louis.
Yeah, talk about another team that's going to have a long season, I think.
St. Louis?
Yeah.
Damn, that's tough.
That team is not good.
They tried to make a run, too. They made a couple of moves this offseason.
Nobody hit the ball besides Goldschmidt yesterday.
And they really only brought in aging veterans to try to see if they could rekindle some of the former greatness.
Their pitching rotation is never going to be good this year.
Very old.
Yeah, it's bad.
And not to mention Sonny Gray banged up to start, right?
Yeah.
So it's a rough look right now for the Cards. I was looking to see if they could have a bounce-back year here because that's not a franchise who fails in back-to-back years too often.
It hasn't happened since the 50s where they were under 500.
But it looks like we are seeing just that.
I think there's a very good chance it happens this year. They do not look like a good ball club.
Let us know how you feel about the Cardinals because it is a pretty interesting situation. They're kind of going through it right now.
Yeah.
We will talk about the AL Central here for a bit because this game was interesting to me. We get 7 strong innings between... This is the Twins and the Royals, 7 strong innings of 1 earned run ball by Pablo Lopez, who you had winning Cy Young. Man, he looked great.
He's a stud.
He gave up a first-inning home run to Michael Garcia, and that was it. So another one where he only gives up a solo homer in the first, much like Trout and Corbin Burns, and that's all he gives up. Goes 7 strong innings. That's what you look for in 2024.
Yeah, I think Pablo Lopez is going to have a monster year. Him and Burns basically had the same game, like you said, except Burns had a little more strikeouts. I think he had 11 to 7 or 8.
Yeah, I mean, the 11 is an impressive mark in your debut for sure.
But Pablo did exactly what I thought he was going to do. I know people were, yourself included, were talking the Royals up mighty high. I mean, I saw J.P. Morosi said that he thinks Cole Reagans is going to be the Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah, I mean, I was high on the Royals, and I wasn't picking Reagans.
I don't know about all that.
I mean, this ends up being a 4-1 victory for the Minnesota Twins as their ace carries them to 7 strong innings.
Yep.
The Royals only run, like I said, coming on that Michael Garcia homer in the first. I mean, a really great sign for the Twins, who did not do too much to improve this offseason. To see that their guys that they relied on last year are still coming through for them, that's good for them.
Yeah, and this is now going to be Pablo's second full season with them, and he was really good last year. I think he's going to be even better, obviously, with my pick of the Cy Young, but nice to see him get going early.
Yeah.
I know it's the Royals from last year. They lost 106 games, whatever, but they're supposed to be an improved ball club.
I was high on them, so I thought I'd see more fire from that lineup for sure than they gave today or yesterday.
Pablo just shoved. That's what it is.
I mean, it was also interesting to looking at the standings. The Twins won their division by a wider margin than anyone else in the American League last year at 9 games. Are we living in a reality where me and you on our predictions are wrong and the Twins just take this division again?
Could fully be. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of moves in the AL Central in general. The Guardians often sneak in. You have the Tigers and I have the Royals, but man, yeah, the Twins really could just not do much in this offseason and just still take the division by a healthy margin again.
If I didn't pick the Tigers to win the division, I would have picked the Twins. I was just trying to pick a little bit of an upset one to mix in there with a bunch of ones that everybody kind of feels like is going to win their divisions. But, yeah, I would not be surprised if the Twins just win the division again. Yeah, they've got a good enough team.
Royce Lewis looked great.
They won a playoff series.
Hit a homer in his first at-bat. So if Royce Lewis is coming through and their ace, Pablo Lopez, if they can stay healthy with guys like Buxton, we'll see what they can do. The Twins do still have a solid roster, even though they didn't do much to improve it this offseason.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I just said, they won a playoff series last year, so maybe they didn't think they had to improve it too much. They could just gel together more this year.
Very true, very true. The last game...
Tough, though. Royce Lewis did leave that game after he was 2 for 2 with the I think his quad tightened up or something.
Some real bad luck because he's been dealing with injuries just his entire career at this point.
Yeah, he can't stay healthy. This was actually his first opening day, and he still has to leave it with injury.
Yeah, so best of luck. Hope it isn't anything too serious. I haven't heard anything on it yet, but we will let you know when we know.
Yeah.
The last thing we will talk about here, the last game we will highlight.
My game of the night.
Yeah, the Texas Rangers taking on the Chicago Cubs in what we found pretty funny, an interleague matchup on opening day like that.
The only interleague series to start the year.
And this was a game that was pretty quiet offensively early. We had a couple sac flies. Dansby Swanson got one in the second for the Cubs to put them up 1-0. And the kid, Wyatt Langford, gets his first RBI of his career as he gets a sac fly out to center field to tie it at 1 in the fourth.
Yeah, he's going to be an absolute stud, man.
Great to see him make the opening day roster.
He looks so comfortable in the box.
I was actually going to say the exact thing. When I tuned into this game yesterday and I watched his at-bats, he did not look like a 22-year-old making his debut.
He looked like he belonged.
Most definitely.
Which is definitely the reason why he made the team. Because they were saying that they thought he was going to make, like, they were under the impression he was going to make the team from, like, early in spring training, and they just they didn't let him know yet.
Yeah, it seemed like something that was set in stone now that we are looking back, and the kid is good, man, just straight up.
Yeah, I mean, what was he hitting, in the 5-hole last night?
Yeah, I believe so.
So, that's a pretty big spot to be put in as a rookie.
World Series defending team now, that's pretty wild. In the sixth inning here, it is a 1-1 game, and Cody Bellinger, who the Cubs did bring back, I thought was a phenomenal move, gets an RBI double to put them up 2-1, scoring Seiya Suzuki. Bottom of the sixth now, Adolis Garcia hits a home run to tie it at 2.
Absolute no doubter, man. He pimped it too.
He does that really more than most anyone in the league. Yeah, the big no doubters.
You gotta imagine how it feels coming off the bat from him. Like, he's gotta know.
He just doesn't feel it at all.
Yeah, it just flies.
That thing just went a while for his first homer of the year.
It was around 410.
Ties the game at 2 between the red, white, and blue teams here, Texas and Chicago. Where we pick this game up, and what's really interesting, is tied at 2 in the 9th inning. This one was maddening to watch, man. It was called a wild pitch. Jonah Heim, the catcher for Texas, thought that this was a foul ball.
Because it was.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know what did the umpire think it was?
He
just
said it was
splitter?
just a drop.
It was
like
just
he
a
didn't
splitter
catch
that
it.
kept going and dropped out. That's not what it was, though. Yeah, but Jonah Heim, rather than pick up the ball, just kept arguing with the umpire as the guy ran from second base. This being Michael Bush, ran from second base, rounded third, and scored the go-ahead run to go up 3-2.
Yeah, all the blame can't be put on Heim though, because Leclerc did not cover the plate either.
No, because they
were both just standing.
They were trying to get a dead ball, but that was never coming.
I mean, you could see the umpire, even though he was completely wrong. Like, it was a foul ball. He did say no.
Heim in the post game, he did say that this is on him. He's got to just get back into the play and pick the ball up and just lock in on the next play.
Yeah, he was in a little better mood in the post game.
Yeah, exactly. We will talk about that because it did not end up costing the Texas Rangers this. We thought
unlikely hero.
I thought this was going to be a really rough start to the season after winning the World Series. The definition of a World Series hangover, to have such a mental mistake like that and lose the game. But no, they bring back Travis Jankowski, and he ends up hitting his first homer of the year to right field.
Pinch hit.
Absolutely wild to see. He is not a guy known for his bat at all, but he comes in and he hits a homer out of a pretty deep part of the park there.
Yeah, he's not on the roster for his bat. He's on the roster as a defensive replacement for late in games. And he jumped in and he hit it. He got all of that one. Yeah, it was a bomb.
Yeah, that ties the late game at 3 very late. And we get to the 10th inning where Texas just pitches a great defensive inning there. Gets out of the situation.
David Robertson.
Gets out of the situation with the ghost runner. He's pumped up as well. They nearly got him.
Yeah.
They nearly got him.
Chris Morel almost got him down the line for a grand slam. He missed it by probably 5 to 10 feet.
Just hooked foul for the go-ahead there. But then who else but Jonah Heim singles on a sharp line drive to center field to score Josh Young. Adolis Garcia moves on over to third, and Wyatt Langford was on base there as well, moving on over to second, and the Texas Rangers walk this off and win 4-3 over the Chicago Cubs on opening day. Electric.
Yeah, talk about immediate redemption for Jonah Heim.
Yeah, awesome.
An inning later.
Awesome to see him get his get back. I know that he's a phenomenal catcher. He knows he's a phenomenal catcher, especially defensively, so to see him just kind of out on the play like that. It was weird. The play, because it was a long one.
It
just kept going.
I mean,
the play just kept going, and the guy Michael Bush kept running around third, ended up scoring there, and it was a frustrating game. It would have been frustrating if they ended up losing that way.
Yeah, especially because it was a foul tip.
Yeah, but he ends up being the hero of the game. That is his only hit in the game, but it is the biggest hit in the game for anyone.
The only one that matters. It's the game ender.
Huge win for the World Series champs, and it should be interesting to see if they can actually win the division this year, because they had it on the last day of the season last year and just lost it out to the Astros.
They're my 1 seed this year. I think they're going to be the number 1 overall team, and this is a great way to get fired up at the start of the season in front of a sold-out crowd. They drop your banner, you walk it off. I mean, they got to be feeling great.
And this is the same day that Houston ended up dropping a heartbreaker to the Yankees there with their tying run.
Everybody else in the West lost.
Very true. So huge day for the Texas Rangers as they'll be moving forward and trying to go back-to-back. Honestly, that's their goal.
Yeah, everybody else in the West lost. And just a quick note from the late game, the Red Sox and the Mariners, which was a 6-4 Red Sox win. Tyler O'Neill becomes the first player in Major League Baseball history to homer in 5 straight opening days.
Outstanding.
He beat out Yogi Berra, who did it 4 times, Gary Carter, who did it 4 times, and Todd Hundley, who did it 4 times. All catchers, which is pretty wild. And then you have Tyler O'Neill at 5, which is crazy.
O'Neill, he is a guy who knows how to start the party, and he does just that.
Think
in
about that.
2024 yet again.
Every year since 2020, he's homered on the first game of the season for his team.
Very impressive stuff. That's how
wild.
you want to start it.
But the Mariners do end up losing, and the Rangers now have a 1-game lead over everybody because everyone else lost.
Now it is opening day for the New York Mets, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Atlanta Braves, and the Philadelphia Phillies. Well, we have a pretty packed slate as well, so lock in on that.
Getting excited.
Thank you for listening wherever you do. This was episode 86 of the 9 Frames podcast, our opening day episode. It is Friday, March 29th, 2024. I have been Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
Be sure to catch us, as always, on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on there. Subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoy the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it as always, and let's go Mets.
Opening day has come and gone. It was a very fun one, and yep, let's go Mets for the 2024 season. Lock in, everybody.